People wake up every day and reach for processed flakes or plastic-wrapped protein bars filled with chemicals. They wonder why they are always exhausted, why their joints ache, and why doctors keep adding prescriptions. The most advanced nutritional science is not in a lab, it is encoded in ancient scripture, when you read the Bible not merely as a religious text, but as an ancient health map for the human body. A profound survival system emerges. The ancients never counted macros, they optimized for decades of resilient strength. Today, you and I will unpack 15 morning foods from biblical tradition that peer-reviewed science is finally proving right. Pay close attention to the first item on our list. You likely have it in your kitchen right now, totally unaware of its power. What it was doing at the cellular level. Later, I will share the story of a dying king and the food that saved him. That is not folklore. That is 2 Kings, and the biochemistry is amazing. Let us begin with number 15, barley porridge with olive oil. When Jesus fed 5,000 people, he did not use wheat, he used barley. If you view the Bible not merely as a religious text, but as an ancient health map, the reason is clear. Barley was the vital fuel for farmers working from dawn to dusk. It is one of the most cardiovascular protective foods ever studied. The Greeks fed it to Olympic athletes. Roman gladiators were known as barley men. Egyptian builders ate it daily. 3 ancient civilizations independently tapped into the exact same biological power for human endurance. This pattern is no accident. Modern science knows exactly why. Barley holds the highest concentration of beta-glucan on Earth, beating oats for cholesterol management. When fully hydrated into a warm porridge, this powerful soluble fiber creates a viscous gel inside your gut. It acts like a sponge, binding to bile acids and flushing them out. The Food and Drug Administration even granted it an official health claim, as just 3 grams a day drastically lowers bad cholesterol. But here is the preparation secret people miss. The porridge form is absolutely essential. Boiling the grain fully hydrates that fiber. Reading scripture as an ancient health map reveals why porridge was the primary preparation back then. They did it because the biology worked. Finish it with a heavy pour of unfiltered extra virgin olive oil. Pour it generously while warm. That fat activates nutrients and delivers heavy anti-inflammatory compounds. It slows digestion, stabilizes blood sugar while protecting the heart. This was the breakfast for people who could not get sick. There were no hospitals. They ate this and worked for decades. Cardiologists are now studying what this ancient health map knew all along. Next is number 14, goat milk yogurt with figs. When ancient texts described a land flowing with milk, they never meant factory cow dairy. They meant nutrient-dense goat milk. The biological difference is staggering. Goat milk features smaller fat globules and a completely different protein structure. It relies on a 2-casein, which science shows is easier on the digestive tract than standard grocery dairy. Goat milk fat is packed with caprylic acid, an antifungal compound, fermented into yogurt. It becomes a living medicine, loaded with strains that repair your gut lining and fight pathogens. Now, add figs. Packed with pectin, figs are the perfect prebiotic food for those good bacteria. Without multivitamins, figs were the ultimate daily supplement. Reading the Bible as an ancient health map reveals the brilliance of this pairing. You are not just eating probiotics. You are feeding them the exact fiber needed to thrive. But there is a crucial preparation detail modern wellness ignores: temperature. Eating yogurt straight from a cold refrigerator paralyzes the live bacteria. In the ancient world, this living food was always kept at ambient temperature. Letting yogurt sit for 20 minutes wakes up those cultures, activating them in a way cold cannot. Viewing the biblical text as an ancient health map, we see they mastered gut science through sheer observation. Today, functional medicine recreates this in expensive bottles. Next is number 13, dates with almonds and warm water. The morning ritual of the patriarchs. Walking the desert trade routes at dawn, Following the paths of Abraham or Joseph, this was your fuel. Dates are the original energy system. They are dense with calories and loaded with minerals. Their sugars flood the bloodstream with fast energy. But unlike toxic modern sugars, dates deliver that energy wrapped in heavy fiber, perfectly stabilizing your blood sugar while nourishing your gut, in the exact same moment. The genius of this ancient health map lies in how these foods operate inside the body. Looking at the dietary habits of biblical figures, we are not seeing random snacks for desert nomads. We are looking at a highly sophisticated system of human survival. Science is finally catching up to this ancient wisdom. Multiple clinical trials now show that regular date consumption provides much more than a fleeting spike in energy. Because of that packaged dietary fiber, the body absorbs essential nutrients smoothly. This was an ancient technology for sustained physical endurance, disguised as a simple piece of fruit. The patriarchs understood what their bodies needed, leaving us a biological blueprint that holds up perfectly under modern medical scrutiny today. Let us look at this ancient health map together. The tannins in dates carry profound antimicrobial properties. There is a biological reason traditional fasting ends specifically with dates. The body absorbs them gently and completely. Then consider almonds, among the most nutrient-dense foods on Earth. 1 ounce delivers 37% of your daily vitamin E. Clinical trials prove almonds lower bad cholesterol and blood sugar spikes. But here is the secret the ancients understood before modern labs. Due to rigid cell walls, a large portion of almond fat passes straight to the colon to feed good bacteria instead of becoming body fat. They did not know cellular mechanics, but they mapped out exactly what worked for lasting energy. That observation became a core survival habit. They drank warm water alongside it, never cold. Cold water constricts digestion, while warm water gently activates the gut. 3 dates, raw almonds, and warm water forms a breakfast of pure nutritional intelligence. Next on this ancient map is lentil stew. Esau traded his birthright for a bowl of red lentils. We read that as a warning about poor choices, but look at it through the lens of human biology. Coming in from brutal labor, his body demanded the most complete plant protein available, delivering 18 grams of protein per cup. Lentils provide iron, zinc, and magnesium simultaneously. Their low glycemic index offers steady, lasting power rather than a sudden crash, perfectly feeding the gut microbiome over time. Populations eating the most legumes live longer. The rule this ancient map encoded, soaking lentils overnight, is biologically critical. Soaking destroys phytic acid, a compound that blocks mineral absorption in your gut. After a slow simmer, the body's ability to absorb iron skyrockets. Early people lacked laboratory terms, but survival depended on this exact habit. Yesterday's stew always became the morning's fuel. Warmed in a clay pot, seasoned with cumin and a heavy pour of olive oil, it was eaten to sustain intense daily labor. Starting the day with warm lentil stew follows true human biology much better than any modern box cereal. Next, we find the pomegranate and yogurt bowl, the absolute crown of ancient antioxidants. 200 pomegranates were carved onto the pillars of Solomon's temple, carved in solid bronze. The pomegranate also lined the high priest's ancient robe. This was never mere decoration. In this survival map, the fruit meant absolute physical vitality. Modern science proves why that reverence was justified. Pomegranates carry a rare compound found almost nowhere else. Inside the gut, it transforms into powerful anti-inflammatory agent studied for deep cellular defense. Clinical trials prove this ancient fruit can lower blood pressure, stop bad cholesterol from oxidizing, and keep arteries flexible. Its healing power vastly outranks red wine, green tea, and blueberries combined. But here is the critical biological secret that's expensive. Modern supplement culture completely misses about how this works. The healing compounds are not actually inside the pomegranate itself. They are created only when gut bacteria process the raw fruit. The deepest benefits demand a thriving microbiome. This is exactly why the ancient pairing of pomegranate and cultured yogurt is a biological masterstroke. The yogurt provides the living bacteria needed to activate the fruit's medicine. Eat the whole seeds. Not processed juice, not a pill, but the complete food exactly as our bodies evolved to digest it. This ancient map proves true healing requires the whole plant. Next, we examine boiled eggs paired with olives. This was the ultimate ancient survival meal. Simple, yet flawlessly complete. Eggs were a vital daily staple, delivering all 9 essential amino acids in perfect harmony to repair human tissue. The egg delivers choline, a vital brain nutrient modern adults lack. It provides compounds to protect our eyes. Alongside vitamins A, D, E, and K, that healing quartet sits perfectly in the yolk, the very part diet culture spent decades demonizing. Science finally admits whole eggs do not wreck the heart. Medicine took decades to fix that mistake, but this ancient survival map never needed correcting. Then we add olives, providing rich fats in a preserved state. Cured olives fueled ancient soldiers and fishermen. They carried an anti-inflammatory compound acting almost exactly like modern ibuprofen, soothing joints without pharmaceuticals. Combining the pure protein of the egg with the dense fat of the olive creates deep, lasting fullness that processed snacks simply cannot match. 2 boiled eggs and cured olives eaten at dawn act as a physiological signal, telling a working brain the body is fed and ready. It is a survival protocol that has been perfect since before the 1st century. Next on our ancient health map is number 9. Fresh herbs with bread and olive oil, the ultimate morning detox. In Matthew chapter 23, Jesus points out mint, dill, and cumin being tithed. You only tax items of immense functional worth. These were not mere plate decorations, they were highly regulated daily medicines. Picture fresh parsley, mint, and coriander torn over bread, dripping with heavy olive oil. Modern science now sees what the ancients knew. Parsley is loaded with apigenin to stimulate liver enzymes, alongside chlorophyll to support the cellular pathways that actively process and flush out bodily toxins. Parsley delivers vitamin K at levels rivaling any food on earth. Then you have mint, which actively relaxes the smooth muscles of your gut, reducing bloating and triggering bile flow. The biological mechanism is completely undeniable. Consider coriander. Compared to manna in Exodus 16, it calms the nervous system, dropping anxiety markers in ways similar to modern pharmacy drugs. It may even pull heavy metals from tissue. Piling fresh herbs on oil-soaked bread was never a simple side dish. It was a calculated daily protocol designed for liver health, digestive activation, and deep neurological calm. Ancient families ate this to literally bring their bodies back to life. Modern toxicology is only now catching up to the sheer brilliance of this ancient health map. Look at number 8 on our map of survival, warm goat milk with dates. This is the promised land in a cup. The destination that kept the Israelites moving through 40 years of wilderness was built around 2 foundational foods. Drinking warm goat milk alongside dates delivers both in their most potent form. Consuming it warm is a brilliant physiological trick. The heat keeps fatty acids bioavailable and stops the gastric shock cold liquids cause in a fasting morning gut. If your stomach takes longer to wake up these days, this temperature shift is pure medicine. The natural acids in goat milk actively fight fungus and bacteria. Modern studies even show it battling the exact yeast strains responsible for chronic gut imbalance today. These people knew exactly what they were pouring into their daily cups. Eating a few dates slowly provides potassium to restore electrolytes after sleep. Sleep is essentially a mild physiological fast. You wake up with depleted glycogen and an inactive gut. The natural sugars in dates start your metabolic engine gently, while thick fiber prevents a harsh glucose spike. Anti-inflammatory compounds go to work from the very first bite. It holds a truth modern breakfast culture has totally forgotten. Your first meal should gently warm the body, not shock it into panic. Now we turn to number 7 on our ancient health map. Figs with honey and yogurt, the ultimate gut healing bowl. To understand its true medical power, we must travel back to Jerusalem in the late 8th century before the Common Era. We are going to look closely at a desperate king who absolutely should have died from a severe infection. King Hezekiah is dying. The Assyrian army just fled his city walls, but the king himself is fading fast from a deadly boil. The original Hebrew word points to a severe ulcerated wound with deep systemic infection. The prophet Isaiah tells him to prepare for death. Hezekiah turns to the wall and prays for his life. In 2 Kings chapter 20, Isaiah returns with incredible news, 15 more years of life. But right alongside that promise comes a highly specific medical intervention. Isaiah orders them to apply a pressed cake of figs directly to the rotting wound. This is not a random ritual. This is advanced biological wisdom hiding in plain sight. Figs are packed with ficin, a powerful proteolytic enzyme that aggressively dissolves dead tissue. It works exactly like the isolated enzymes modern medical specialists use today to clean out stubborn, non-healing ulcers. That fig poultice actively dissolved the dead flesh around Hezekiah's wound, slashing the bacterial load so his body could heal. Figs carry compounds proven to kill stubborn bacterial strains. We are not reading religious poetry. This is a literal historical record of clinical wound debridement. Now, imagine taking that same healing power inside your body. Figs are packed with pectin, a heavy fiber feeding the deepest bacterial colonies in your gut. Layer those soft, enzyme-rich figs into fresh goat milk yogurt. Drizzle unheated, raw honey over the top. You have just built a meal delivering live probiotics, the exact fibers to feed them. Tissue-healing enzymes, and massive anti-inflammatory protection all at once. Modern doctors would truly struggle to engineer a better morning protocol. Isaiah did not just prescribe a hopeful prayer. He prescribed the most aggressive healing food in the ancient world. Imagine what that power does for your gut lining. Let us look at number 6 on our map. Chickpea mash with bread and garlic, an absolute protein powerhouse. When Ruth arrived starving, after a brutal journey from Moab, she ate the classic worker's meal. Mashed chickpeas blended with heavy olive oil. Crushed garlic and lemon kept ancient people standing. It was the raw survival fuel of Israelite, Egyptian, and Persian builders alike. Massive empires anchored their daily labor to this one legume. That is deep nutritional evidence. A single cup drops 15 grams of protein into the body, packed with vital iron. The glycemic index is so brilliantly low that the energy release takes hours, keeping a human body fully fueled until dusk. It was perfect fuel for grueling labor. But modern science is obsessed with its resistant starch. Chickpea starch survives the stomach to reach the colon intact. There, bacteria ferment it into butyrate, a fatty acid that fuels the cells lining your intestinal wall. Eating this literally reinforces the cellular armor, preventing systemic inflammation. Then you add raw garlic. Crushing it releases allicin, a potent compound that hunts down viruses and dangerous bacteria while lowering blood pressure. Squeezing fresh lemon over the bowl provides a rush of vitamin C, chemically unlocking the iron trapped inside the chickpeas. This is brilliant biological synergy. These ancient people engineered a flawless medical mechanism thousands of years before the microscope. To unlock this healing, map yourself. Always start by soaking raw dried chickpeas overnight. That simple soaking radically improves how the body absorbs minerals. The ancients prepared this in massive batches. It was not mere convenience, it was human biological optimization. Next on our map is soaked ancient wheat porridge. Listen closely, because this changes everything about ancient grain. When these texts mention wheat, they never mean the processed commodity grain in modern bread. They mean ancient varieties like einkorn. structurally different from the modified dwarf wheat engineered in the 20th century for fast yields. Modern wheat has 42 chromosomes. Einkorn has exactly 14. The ancient gluten structure is fundamentally gentler on the gut. Its starch digests slowly, keeping energy perfectly stable. It holds vastly more protein and antioxidants than anything on today's shelves. This is exactly why people suffering intense reactions to modern wheat tolerate this ancient einkorn wheat without the inflammation of modern grains. Researchers are just now studying this, but here is the preparation precision the ancient world understood. They always soaked the grain overnight. Viewed as an ancient health map, you realize this was never just about softening food. Soaking activates a hidden enzyme called phytase. This destroys phytic acid, an anti-nutrient that traps iron and zinc, blocking absorption. By soaking the grain, mineral bioavailability skyrockets. The ancients embedded this rule because families who soaked their grain thrived. They manipulated cellular bioavailability centuries before the word existed. Finish with olive oil and sea salt. The fat activates vitamins and delivers anti-inflammatory power. For anyone who has suffered from modern wheat and abandoned grain, this ancient food is the answer. When we read these texts as a survival map, everything changes. That brings us to number 4, sesame paste with honey and bread. You and I need to look closely at this calcium-rich powerhouse, because modern diets have forgotten it. Sesame oil was pressed in Mesopotamia by 3000 BCE and recorded as medicine in ancient Egypt. Across ancient Israel, ground sesame, what we now call tahini, was a daily survival staple. It is one of the highest plant sources of calcium on Earth. 2 tablespoons give you more calcium than many dairy servings, requiring 0 animal milk. It is packed with zinc for immune function, plus antioxidants that lower blood pressure. But the true secret hidden in this ancient dietary map is methionine, a unique sulfur-based compound. Methionine is the exact amino acid missing from most grains. When tahini is eaten with bread, just as the ancients did, it completes the amino acid profile. They built complete proteins through daily habit, long before science understood human biology. Then they added raw honey. This was not just for sweetness. The honey delivered antimicrobial properties, active digestive enzymes, and clean energy. The bread acted as a fiber matrix, slowing the absorption of sugars and zinc to fuel the body for hours. The ancient world called this breakfast, while modern doctors call it an optimized protocol. That brings us to number 3, fermented milk with dates. Look at the Book of Judges, chapter 4. The general Sisera is exhausted. He asks Yael for water, but she intentionally hands him milk. The original Hebrew reveals she did not pour fresh milk. She gave him fermented milk, known today as lebne. Viewing this text as a biological map, we uncover a brilliant health mechanism. Fresh goat milk fermented naturally in her skin vessels, becoming a dense powerhouse of lactic acid bacteria. This living drink was packed with wild strains, perfectly designed to colonize the gut and boost the immune system. Today, companies isolate these exact bacterial strains in labs and sell them for $30 a bottle. But the ancients absorbed this potent medicine for free every single morning. Their microbiome diversity was vastly superior to ours, built purely from the natural, wild biology of their clay jars and simple leather skins. Eating dates alongside this fermented milk completed a precise biological cycle. The dates provided prebiotic fiber, fueling the good bacteria entering the gut. They delivered potassium to restore electrolytes and sugars for instant energy. Modern medicine calls this a probiotic revolution, but this ancient map recorded it millennia ago. That brings us to number 2, the resurrection breakfast of grilled fish and flatbread. In John chapter 21, the disciples are physically ruined after fishing all night. Jesus calls out, their nets pull up 153 fish, and they step ashore to find a charcoal fire. The risen Christ did not prepare a lavish ceremony. He simply offered grilled fish and warm bread at sunrise. It was a targeted, functional meal designed to instantly heal their exhausted bodies. Viewed through the lens of human biology, this meal is brilliantly designed. The fatty fish of the Sea of Galilee are among the richest sources of omega-3 fats on Earth. They are packed with DHA for repairing brain cells and EPA, a potent anti-inflammatory. Our bodies cannot manufacture these fats. Science proves they dramatically lower the risk of heart disease and cellular inflammation by grilling the fish directly over a charcoal fire, avoiding the toxic, oxidizing seed oils of our modern era. The pure nutritional profile remained completely intact. Paired with whole grain flatbread for sustained energy, this was a breakfast of incredible restorative power. The disciples had just spent the night doing brutal physical labor. Their muscles were completely drained, and their cortisol stress levels were peaking. Their guts were empty. In that moment, this targeted meal delivered complete protein and anti-inflammatory medicine straight to their cells. He understood exactly what a broken body required to heal. This brings us to number 1, barley bread with raw honey. You and I need to look closely at this, because it is the absolute foundation of ancient survival. Barley was never a luxury. It was the gritty, durable fuel of soldiers and prophets. When Elisha fed the masses in 2 Kings, he used heavy barley loaves. When an angel found Elijah collapsing from exhaustion, he commanded him to eat bread baked over hot coals. That life-saving bread was barley. It was the biological anchor that kept the ancient world alive through its most brutal, unforgiving seasons. Today, modern science is finally proving exactly why. When you open these ancient texts, you are not just reading history, you are looking at a survival manual. Take barley, a staple grain mentioned time and time again. Modern science now knows it holds the highest concentration of beta-glucan on Earth. This fiber is so powerful at stabilizing blood sugar that the FDA finally issued an official health claim for it. But the ancients already knew its worth, inside your gut. This grain slows down glucose and physically drags cholesterol out of your body. It even outperforms oats. Now, combine that ancient grain with raw honey. I am not talking about that clear syrup squeezed from a plastic bear at the grocery store. That is just heated, filtered fructose. Genuine biblical honey is cloudy, crystallized, and totally unprocessed. It is a living medicine containing an enzyme that actually creates hydrogen peroxide when it touches a wound. That wound-healing reaction is just one way this ancient medicine works. Real honey contains defensin 1, a protein proven in modern labs to obliterate bacterial cell walls, even taking down superbugs like antibiotic-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. This is the vast gulf between a food that heals your body and a food that just pretends to. Picture a dense slice of fermented barley bread, dripping with raw, unheated honey. The ancient fermentation unlocks deep mineral reserves, while the honey rushes your system with active antimicrobial enzymes. The barley keeps you fueled for hours. The ancient world did not have food scientists or clinical trials to tell them this. They had generations of deep observation, mapping out exactly what healed the human body. They built their entire culture around these truths, and they were absolutely right. But before we finish today, there is one final principle we need to uncover. Let's look at this piece by piece, shall we? There is a critical rule that applies to every single biological tool we have talked about. Without it, the ancient health map completely falls apart. You will not hear this in the supplement aisle. Processing physically destroys the very things that make these foods work. Real honey is boiled into lifeless syrup. Medicinal olive oil is stripped into a refined fat. Living fermented milk becomes dead yogurt pumped full of sugar. Those powerful active compounds, the living cultures, the enzymes that fight disease, they simply cannot survive industrial processing. Heating and refining for a long shelf life strips away the exact elements that heal you. The ancients ate their medicine close to the source, completely whole and fully alive. This is not some romantic notion about the past. This is basic biochemistry. Modern food engineering gives us cheap meals, but it steals the very medicine that protected people for thousands of years. What is left on the modern grocery shelf might give you calories, but it will never offer you therapy. It feeds the stomach, while leaving the body completely defenseless. To follow this ancient map, you have to track down the real versions. You need raw honey straight from a trusted source. You need dark, unfiltered olive oil that burns the back of your throat. You need living dairy, slow-cooked legumes, and uncorrupted ancient grains. The effort takes time, but the healing is undeniable. Think about this for a moment. If 15 ancient foods, all documented within one single biblical text, are now being proven, compound by compound. In modern laboratories, what exactly are we looking at? Was this divine revelation? Or did they just pay closer attention to biology than we do today? They could not explain the cellular mechanisms, but they held the map. They just followed the instructions that kept their bodies alive, strong, and ready for whatever hardships came their way. If viewing these ancient scriptures not just as religious history, but as a biological map for human survival resonates with you, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Pass this knowledge along to someone who is tired of modern diets and desperately needs to hear it. I want you to drop a comment below and tell me which piece of ancient wisdom surprised you the most. More importantly, tell me which one you are actually going to use tomorrow morning to protect your own health. Do not try to tackle all 15 at once. Just pick one. Build one single breakfast that connects you to this ancient blueprint. Make a choice that is just a little more aligned with the biology of your body and a little wiser than what you ate yesterday. That single shift is exactly where real healing begins. We have barely scratched the surface here. I will see you in the next one.